Hello and welcome to this week's weekly drive. My name is Brenda Dempsey. I'm the founder and CEO of Book Brilliance Publishing. And with us, you're in the driving seat and we are navigating. That is my promise to you. Publishing your book is one of the most rewarding things that you can do. The sense of accomplishment that you feel. Some of my authors have told me, you've made my dream come true. But actually, I haven't done it. We do it together. We're all about collaboration. And it's so important that you understand that you're in control and we're here as the experts, just lighting the road and you are making choices. And of course, we do it together because after all, we're going to achieve success together. Your success is our success. So the weekly drive this week, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be looking at book structure. So let me just share the screen with you. Make sure I get the right one. So we need to build your book's foundation. So just like the Burj Khalifa, the Empire State Building, they are built on solid foundations. And what we do here is we build deep foundations. We have to dig deep before we can build upward. And of course, here at BBP, the sky's the limit. And that's what we want for you. So therefore, we've got to build deep. And how do we do that? Well, we go on a journey and we connect within. And throughout that whole journey, that enables you to transform. So let's look at how deep, what we've got to do for building a solid foundation that will make your book engaging, readable, and what I call dippable. So let's see where we're going to begin. So it's important, it's more than important, it's vital. It's vital that we create this strong foundation. So therefore, we have to look at the structure. The structure is very important. And of course, structure is one of the S's in success. And the structure that you choose will impact your reader so significantly, allowing them to engage. And they will then form their opinion and judgment. And of course, as an author, you want those reviews. So with a strong structure that's clear, that's easy to follow, almost like a roadmap on the journey that we're on, then that's going to appeal to the reader. So with that strong foundation, today we're focusing on non-fiction writing, it's crucial for the following reasons. Credibility. Now, credibility is all about you, what you do, what people see, what you write, what you say is reliable, it's credible, and it's trustworthy. So therefore, credibility comes from what I call walking your talk. So what you're going to put into that book, whatever the theme is, what you're going to put into the book has to be credible, has to come from you, has to come from your experience, your expertise, your education, everything in your life, and that you can now sum up into what I call a philosophy. What do you live by? That it's clear. It's got well signposted. You know, when you go on a journey, you're always looking out for the signposts. Am I there yet? Where am I? You know, so if I'm going from London to Scotland, I'm looking at, am I in Birmingham yet? I'm in Manchester. Am I on the M6? Am I near Blackpool? Am I crossing the border yet? So there's the clarity. I'm on a great road and I know where I'm going and I know that the signposts are going to be there. It's the same with your book. It needs to be well signposted. Engagement. how you engage in the reader. What's the language? What's the tone? Does it stand for who you are? Does it promote your brands? Does it allow the reader to use their own imagination? Can they clearly see what picture you're painting? Do they connect with the rapport that you're building through the stories that you're telling in your non-fiction book? And how is it impacting them? Impact's very important. Are they going to keep turning the pages? Are they going to feel something? Are you going to change their thinking? Are you going to ask questions and make them think? So be clear what the impact is. What do you want the book to do for the reader? And here's the one I love. It amplifies your authority. Now, you're working hard in your business, you're building a brand, and you're building a reputation. Now, when you write a book based on education, expertise, and your experiences, you will start to form the philosophy. I've spoken about this already, and that will give you an authority so that when you speak, people will listen. When you are across social media, people will stop. Ah, there's Caroline Purvey again. There's Scott Anderson. I'm trying to think here of. There is the Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett. People will stop. So does your authority make them stop and listen? Are you visible? Are you seen and you heard and are you noted? Are you remembered? And are people remembering you for not what you say, not what you do, but how you're making them feel? Very important. So emotion throughout your book is important. But of course, a non-fiction book as a business owner, I say to everybody that comes to me, if you're here for book sales, that's a short-term view, and I'm not your publisher. Yeah, we can sell books, we can sell quite a few books, but being an author and an entrepreneur and having a well-structured book that engages the readers is about longevity. So who can you think of right now who wrote a book 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? What about Stephen Covey? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yeah, it's on my shelf. I should have had it here. What about Napoleon Hill? He goes back even further, 1930s, 20th century. You know, William Whittles as well, Science of Getting Rich. I think that's Napoleon Hill. So there are people, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki. So do you want your book to be around in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, and as part of the legacy that you leave behind when you're no longer here, sharing your passion and purpose with your audience? So what are some of the pillars of a strong foundation? Well, once you understand the structure, which is more than chapters, but that's what people think about when they're structuring a book. They think of the chapters, but no, your book is your foreword. It's your acknowledgements. It's your epilogue, a prologue. It's your, I think I said acknowledgements, references. It's all of these other components that create that structure of what makes up a book. It's the spine, it's the front cover. It's all of that. But authors, when they think they want to write a book, they think of they're thinking of the content and the message that they want to share. So therefore, when you have a solid structure that's built on the foundation, so think of a building, let's go to the Burj Khalifa or any other building you can think of, it's tall, is deep foundations. So that's when you go inside, connecting to your values. Then they do a structure, so that they'll put iron girders and all sorts of things to create the shape. And then they start layering on all the other things, the windows, the walls, the Well, some of them are all glass, aren't they? So glass, windows, wall, brick, mortar, to the interior, to the roofs, etc., etc. But so let's look at what you add to the structure, which we'll look at chapters. So usually we look at the theme, come up with, we brain dump everything that we know to that belongs with what you're talking about, whether it's mindset, healthy eating, whether it's mindfulness, whatever it may be. What are the components? And this is where we're going to get the clear framework, because the framework comes with what you put in each of the chapters. So the structures, the chapters, and how they arc and how they tell the story and how they journey the author through. The framework is how do we set out each of those chapters. So, of course, whatever you put into those, to that framework, so personal story, universal story, visuals, all sorts. I think there's more of this coming up in a moment. But it's got to be engaging. Look, today we live in a multimedia world, and we're very visual, and we need a multisensory approach. And I know that from teaching for 25 years. We must have multisensory, because I know if somebody just keeps talking at me, I'm going to forget. But if I see a picture and see a word or a colour, that's why brand and your branding is very important, then it sticks in my mind. But some people love listening, audiobooks, Clubhouse, all of these platforms. So how are you going to engage them? What you're going to do? In this day of multimedia, we can even put like QR codes that take them to you talking, bring your book to life. So you're writing on the page, you're getting inside their head, they're hearing the phrases that you say over and over again. And then they can go and actually see you and watch you saying something that's part of your book. So we really need to think of how we're going to engage them and what's going to make it different and stand out. I've already told you a couple of good things already. And have you effectively organised? So what does that mean? So let's look at the filing cabinet or a file. What you want, you've got your heading, you might have quotes, but what makes a book dippable, and all our books are dippable, and they're made with soul. They have subheadings, they have labels, they have captions, they have all sorts of things so that it's clear for the reader. They can find things easily. So have you got a good contents? Have you got your references done so they can go and find that reference? Are they numbered and are they corresponding? You see, I don't want to kid you on or pull the wool over your eyes. A book is way more than writing those chapters and there's content. And there's ways of doing it. That's why you need support with someone who knows what they're doing. Not only that, but quality. So looking at their credibility and what they've achieved and what they've done, and find someone that walks the talk. So your book is outlining your vision for the world in terms of maybe building a better resilient, being a better resilient human being. Maybe looking at the art of journaling. Maybe your vision is for people to be more confident, more open-minded, develop a growth mindset, have self-belief. Whatever it is, what's your vision? You need to know what that vision is. Very, very important. So, what are you going to do to develop that engaging content? Here's a question you can ask yourself. What do you like in a book? Go to a library, go to your bookshelves, go to a bookstore, find a few books and flick through them. You don't need to be reading, but look at what's catching your eye. Is it just full of text? Not going to cut the mustard with me. But has it got a range of things that you can look at? Has it got maybe it's got cartoons in it. you know. Maybe it's got caricatures. Maybe it's got tables and smart art. Maybe it's got those QR codes that will get the reader thinking, oh, where's that going to take me? Is it going to show me something? Have I got to participate in something? What is it? So if you're writing a book about meditation, get a QR code in there, do a meditation with them, bring yourself alive, you know? But it's not just all these little gimmick things as well. It's about the quality of the words and how you say things. It's that tone of voice, the language that you use. So organized. Is your book well organized? Has it got a good contents page with everything in it and the page number so they can go directly to that? Are you using subheadings? Are you using captions? Do you have a reference part at the back? Do you have a glossary? How are you organizing your book? Now, this is very important, balancing your information and readability. So I was reading a magazine yesterday, and it was a magazine about autism and this doctor that's discovered something when the mother's pregnant in her gut. Now, for the most part, so remember, it's written by a medical doctor. So for the most part, I was getting it. And I thought, this is interesting. And I was interested because I used to teach autistic kids, and we have autism in our family. So I was really interested in what this guy had to say. But then there was a little chunk, and I thought, wow, that needed rewording. Because I'm quite intelligent, but I'm not a medic. And I thought, for most lay people, that paragraph is going to lose them. Yet he'd done it everywhere else. So therefore, that needed a good editor and someone working with him to say, right, I like this, what you're saying, but how's the ordinary person going to understand what you're saying? So you need to balance what information you're giving them, and will your reader understand it? So jargon free is the best. Here's the secret to a great book. Write it for a 10-year-old. Most of the tabloids are written for 10-year-olds. That's the level of language. How do I know? Because I taught English. They are. So we get up to the broadsheets, and we're getting more into 14 to 18-year-olds. Now, the thing is, you don't want to dumb down your book. That's not what I'm saying either. It's balance. The word balance is key. You want them to be able to read it and understand what you're trying to say with ease. But every now and again, you're going to give them some kind of vivid, vivacious word that's going to get them going, oh, I've not heard that before. Get them curious. But you have to just sprinkle it out throughout the book. If you give them too much of it, they're going to shut the page, put it down, and they'll not lift it back up again. But if you just give them enough, they'll become curious. They'll go, oh, didn't know that. Oh, so think about the books you read. Are they heavy in information and not much else? Is it a book that's it's readable, it flows, it's got cohesion? So structuring your book is important, and thinking about what you're putting into that structure in terms of that framework and those words that you're going to use. But let me just let you off the hook for a moment here. You don't get it right on your first draft, or your second draft, or your third draft, or your fourth draft. Well, maybe come draft 4, you're beginning to get it right. You edit yourself, then you have a professional. Because you will not get your book right on your own. I'm going to say that again. You will never get your book right on your own. Lots of people self-publish. Lots of books come my way. And lots of books are like, because here's the thing. If you put a book out there and you don't know, and I'm only giving you the tip of the iceberg of some of this stuff. If you don't know what you don't know, and you put a book out there, guess what? You will damage your credibility. You'll have no authority. You'll damage your brand. Yeah, your friends and family will say it's a great book because they'll be polite and kind to you. So it's really important that you know what you're doing, you've got a certain level of competency, and you find experts who can turn your good writing into great writing. Don't think for a minute that all these authors out there, their finished article, I'm going to go to fiction for a moment here, that they wrote that in that way. There'll have been a lot of work, a lot of stuff thrown out and new stuff put in, new content put in. What happens all the time? Integrate visual aids. We live in a visual world. Put the visual aids in. Tables, a smart art, you know, like Venn diagrams and those kind of things. You know, pictures in, art, drawings, find an illustrator. We've got a book here that was, there's cartoons in it that were drawn by a cartoonist who's in private eye. You know, find some credible people that will add weight to your book. Absolutely. If you can draw yourself, do it. Now, we talked about the editing, revising and refining. So this is what I tell people. Just put it on the page. Don't care about spelling, grammar, anything. Just get the ideas down on that page. There's no room for perfectionism at the start of this journey or at the end of it. You just strive for the best you can do with what you've got. You find great people and they make it better. You put the sentences down, you go back and you read them aloud. And guess what? When you hear it, you'll be like, oh my God, that doesn't make sense. But you, in your head thinks it's making sense. Look, I've read a sentence 3 and 4 times and I think, I don't see anything wrong with it. Then somebody reads it aloud to me and I go, oh my God, what's that doing in there? That's wrong. You know? So you kind of start to look at, does it sound good? Is it smooth? Is it flowing? Then you might look at your word choice. So you need to look at the quality of the verbs that you use. Create imagery in your reader's mind by using that. Show them, don't always tell them. Oh, the lady that lived in the house was very rich. You're telling me? You could write, as the lady drove up her driveway, dripping in diamonds. Not the driveway, there was a bit of a what do you call that? I've forgotten. And it'll come back to me again. The lady dripping in driving drove her Maserati up the winding driveway to her manor. Have I told you she was rich? No. But what can you get from that? Well, she's got a driveway, she's dripping in diamonds, she's driving a Maserati, and she's living in a manor. Wow. You have to get the balance right. If you show all the time, it's boring. If you tell, it's extremely boring. So everything in your writing, in your book, what goes in is about that. So look at words. Can you get a word that creates imagery in your brain? I tell you, the book that every person should have in their life, the best book in the world, is not a dictionary, but a thesaurus. And I'm sure we'll do an exercise on that at some point. But revise and refine. Do it. It is hard to keep going back to it, but leave it for a week or two, then go back. You know, you need to give time. You know, I'm working with authors and they think they've got a manuscript and then something happens and they come back to me a month later and they go, oh, I don't like that, Brenda, I'm rewriting that. Or then they read it, no, that's not what I meant to say there. This is why you can't write a book in 30 days. I don't care if I had about 10 coaches telling you can. Not a quality book, not a definitive book, and not a brilliant book, that's for sure. So, yeah, so revise and refine 3 to 4 times yourself, find yourself a great editor and work with that editor. So incorporate credible sources. What does that mean? So you might put something, research into mindfulness has shown that being mindful for 50 minutes a day improves your mental health. Something like that. Where's the credible source? Just because it's research? No, you've got to say Research by, I'm just going to say Harvard, recent research by Dr. Lucy Merriweather, a Harvard professor in mindfulness, in her recent report claimed that that mindfulness improves your mental well-being. Okay, so you've got a credible source because you believe it anyway. You go and you find a credible source. You might have a credible, because you've got to come from your philosophy. Remember, it's all about you. Go and find somebody else that thinks like you, but they've got better credibility and authority. Because guess what happens when you start putting reliable and credible sources in? You raise your own profile. Your profile goes up. So, for example, recently I've been involved with Dr. John Demartini, and I'm about to be involved in some work with Jack Canfield. These are the names I can put Brenda Dempsey beside. Oh, yes, we are fickle. People are shallow. Not that I'm saying their work's shallow. I'm not, but what I'm trying to say is how you raise your authority and accelerate it is by being associated with key folk. My friend Simon Ong, who wrote Energize, he's got Marie Forleo, he's got Simon Sinek, and I don't know, Jack Canfield as well. He's got a whole host, Stephen Bartlett. He's got a whole host of modern day gurus, entrepreneurs who are smashing it. And his name is now associated with theirs. So therefore, guess what's happened to his speaking gigs and his visibility and everything else? It's just gone to a whole new level. And I knew Simon before, when he was just starting out. So he has gone to another place. And this is what does it. Credible sources. Finally, most important, find a community for support. So here we've got the Book Tribe, the Book Brilliance Tribe. It's a free community where you can come and talk about your ideas, share what do you think about this for an idea. We're all in the same boat. We share our experiences, we share our expertise. You know, so you can join us. Find other communities. Find other communities. And I forgot to add the most important one, create your own. So what I tell authors when they come to us is, have you got a community? Have you got a group? Because you want to, in your journey of becoming an author, you want to attract your ideal reader. You want to engage with them. Can you imagine if you say, I've got three front covers here, which one do you like? And you actually ask their opinion. Wow. Wow, they're going to become raving fans. They're going to give you reviews. They're going to share your book. They're going to do anything you like. When you engage with a community and ask them their opinion, wow, that's gold. That's gold. So go to be in a community with other authors or business people, whatever it is. So we do entrepreneurship. So that's about writing. That's about speaking. That's about business. And we take you beyond your book, going further than you could ever dream of. So now we would have Q&A. So if there's any questions, put them in the group, and then I will answer those questions, and we can strike up a conversation. So I'm just going to share with you. So when you sign up, when you watch this, you can get a play sheet that will help you. Let me see if I can find it straight away. Here we go. So I'll make it a bit bigger. So here is what I've told you about today, broken down into component parts. Remember clarity, remember engaging, where you can brain dump. This is a brain dumping exercise. This is brain dumping and maybe doing a wee bit of research and putting a few notes down. This isn't getting the book done. This is where we're starting. So how are you going to organize it? So there's some tips to make you think on how you're going to organize your book. Again, remember, go and look at books you like, books you don't like, and think about, well, what can I do to make my book interesting? What's your style and tone? Is it friendly? Is it your best friend? For me, I encourage you to talk to your reader as if they're having a private conversation. So think about the tone. Are you going to be humorous? Are you going to be serious? Are you going to be exciting or sophisticated? You have to know this is all about brand here, the brand voice. And who are you going to get? Cite, who are you going to cite? What guru says something along the lines that supports your belief in your philosophy? What research has been done? What interviews has there been recently? What podcasts are there? Cite them and include them. What websites can you go to? What blogs can you go to? You know, what magazines can you go to? Like, you might go to Success Magazine. You might go to Brilliance Magazine. So there's magazines that have really high flyers in them. So look at these online as well. And then what are you doing for reviewing your content and the flow of ideas? So I would suggest you do a little flow chart to help you with that. For these, maybe find some words that you want to put in there, some phrases. And of course, one of the most important things is once you start to get, even if you've just got a first chapter, give it and seek feedback. So here you can give it to peers, you can give it to mentors, you've got a coach, but most important, find an editor, find a publisher, find an editor that's going to help you get a world-class book. Oh, and we're live and the phone's going. So there we have it. So I hope you've enjoyed the weekly drive this week, looking at structure and looking at your framework and making sure that stopped. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can